All right, everybody, we're live. We're doing a little garden tour here today since we got some good weather. Got my little greeter here. Cheeto watches guard of the garden. He's the garden guarder. He's the guardian. So yeah, so I've had a pile of leaves here, compost, but the leaves are being used as mulch, so now there's pretty much nothing left. Soon enough, when I pull all my stuff out, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff going in here to compost over the rest of the summer and fall and into next season. So if anybody needs compost, let me know. I'll have a bunch next year. So this, I had put a squash, put one of these bad boys in there last year, and sure enough, it just started growing out of my pile. You can see it's just coming right out over there. So I just decided to kind of let it go and put it up a stake so it was out of the way of the gate. And now we're gonna have some weird looking bumpy pumpkins. So over here we got some hot peppers. These are chile de árbol. Saved those seeds from last year. These are sugar rush peach, and I got some jalapenos that were pretty sad looking but on sale, so decided to save them, give them a good home. In the back we got okra, which is just completely taking off, and it looks like I've got a couple that I've got to harvest. These are little small ones, can use for pickling, and I got a big huge one right here which I need to get off of there before it gets too woody to eat. I got some more peppers in the front here. A patch of beans. And then this is a Tabasco plant, I believe. It's from Myra's dad, Pascual. He gave me the seeds from Mexico. And I had this particular plant was way over there in the corner last year, but I took it inside and overwintered it, and now it is in the garden for the second year. So now it kind of actually looks like a tree. It's pretty dope. Got a zucchini back in here. You can see got two going right now. And then I got a huge zucchini plant just completely taking over. Got to get in there and chop some of these bad boys so that it doesn't take over the peppers completely. I did just harvest one off of there, but I don't think I've got any more female blossoms in there to impregnate yet, so I'll be on the lookout. Then we got our lovely trellis made from a cattle panel, which has Chinese red noodle beans going up one side. We're almost at the top. And then we've got some 1,500-year-old cave beans going up the other side. I have yet to see a bean. Apparently they're kind of late bloomers, so we'll see. And then over here I've got some dragon tongue beans, which are really cool looking, and they actually taste really good too. They're a little fuzzy on the outside. They have a really good flavor. Then over here I planted some purple teepee beans. Those are for the wifey. If you know her, she loves purple. So those are kind of at the end of their life. Got a few more beans in the queue, but those will be done for pretty soon. So yeah, eventually this is going to be completely covered. On to tomatoes. So on this side we've got the tomatoes growing up wood stakes, which I made from furring strips. We've got Aunt Ruby's green German tomato. One of these guys is almost ready. I've got some purple bumblebee cherry tomatoes, black crim, and then the super sweet 100, which I kind of let go a little bit. It's just completely taken over. And got a little mini trellis going on over here. Whoa. Then over here I've got another super sweet 100, which is doing really well. Another black crim. Got some that are getting almost ready to harvest. Harvested a couple off of there already. More purple bumblebees for the wifey. And some more German green Aunt Ruby's tomatoes. So the idea is to get these growing up vertically, but I've kind of let them bush out a little more than I would have liked to. Then over here we've got ground cherries. So I've got 2 plants in here and they are just completely taken over. But yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of gardening, just coming out here and animals got to that one. Popping this bad boy open and whoop, little snack. Oh my god, they're so good. Diane, I see you're watching, so I'll bring some of these to work so you can try it. So these tomatoes over here, I made cages, kind of a little experiment just to see which one does better, up the stakes or in the cages. So far I'm not noticing a difference. The ones in the cages are obviously a little harder to get to because I got to stick my hand way in there, search my way through it, but yeah, I haven't noticed a difference in the production. In the front here is a toothache plant. So the toothache plant, I grew this one because I actually get a lot of canker sores. I don't think that I'm a really stressed out person, but when I do get stressed, I get canker sores. And yeah, so I'm going to save these. You just pop these little guys off, stick it in your mouth, chew it up. Tastes terrible, but you give it a second and oh, there it goes. Yep. Ooh, daddy. Yeah, it's really starting to numb me up. Oh my god. The other thing it does is it makes you salivate a lot. So the next few minutes is going to be a little crazy. You're probably going to hear me spitting. But if anybody has toothache, let me know. Alright. I had to spit that out. That was... oh man. It was crazy. Right here is borage. So the borage is going to turn into a flower. It's mostly here just to protect the tomatoes, because all of the pests that normally... oh, we got a little spider. Get them bugs, buddy. Normally all of the pests that attack tomatoes really like borage more. So they're there to kind of protect. We got some Thai basil here. This stuff is delicious. It's a little spicy. It's really, really good. And then just more of the tomato forest. Over here is the lettuce bed. So I planted this stuff in spring. And got a ton of kale, which I'm going to harvest and dry and turn into a green super powder using smoothies. And then I've got all of these lettuces that started to bolt when the weather got hot. So I just kind of let them go instead of taking them out. You can see, it'll focus, these little flower buds are starting to flower. So the whole head is eventually going to turn into just a huge white clump of fuzziness. I'm going to chop that off and take all the little seeds and have a ton of seeds. I'm never going to have to buy lettuce seeds ever again, probably. And over here I got some parsnips, and then I've got 3 or 4 different kinds of carrots over here, so I'm excited for those. Got my wildflowers. Yeah, every time I come over here in the morning, which is when I usually like to do my gardening, so it's not so hot, these things are always buzzing with pollinators. I don't see too many right now. There's a little guy. But yeah, there's always somebody buzzing over here. having a good time. Along the fence are my grasses I got from my grandparents, which we're gonna kind of use to block the cars. Got this beautiful bindweed right here. If anybody has this in their yard, I'm sure they know about it. It's a pain in the tuchus. It gets all over the place, and it's been my arch nemesis, but it's got a beautiful flower, so I'll give it that. So this is a bird feeder. I still have to re-up the seeds, but the bird seed that I put in there earlier this year had corn in it. Sure enough, we've got some corn growing. I don't know if we're actually going to get any corn out of it, but it's just growing because it looks cool now. So I'm feeding the hell out of it, and hopefully we get an ear or two. That would be awesome. All right, over here where it all started. So last year, this is where I started the herb garden, which turned into a hobby and then turned into a passion. So these tomato plants are actually volunteers from last year. I had a couple that must have fallen on the ground. I put them there. This is where the leaf pile was over the winter, so I put some tomatoes in that too, so it could have come from there as well. So I'm gonna wait and see what kinds of tomatoes these are. I don't know. Then we got our Petite de Gris Rene. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but got some melons. So we got a bunch going in here. There's one down here, little one down here, nice big one, another nice big one, a couple little small ones up in here. So gonna have some cantaloupe pretty soon. And I think I saw a couple in the works over here. Yep, so these ones are gonna start growing. I don't know if I should probably move it out of the marigolds so that they don't get trampled. I've got some spinach, Malabar spinach. It's crawling up this little trellis, teepee trellis I've got here. And some beans in the back, because I had to figure out something to do with those cinder blocks and keep the dogs out of here. I got some peppers. These are Scotch bonnet peppers. These are hot babies. I got these from my buddy Jesse. And some habaneros that I got from Jesse. And a Phileas Blue. Got a really pretty purple pepper. It's kind of an ornamental. Just made some hot sauce with those this morning. I got some more peppers. The peppers in the containers are just going freaking nuts. I don't know if it's because of the potting mix that had some kind of feed in it or what, but yeah, they just went kind of bonkers. Got some more peppers over here. These babies are going to be some red peppers. Still green right now. This is another Phileas Blue that actually took off, but you'll see these purple peppers. I got this from Myra as well. They're freaking delicious, but they're nicer to look at. Then I let the kids plant some seeds too, because of course I'm out here all the time. They wanted to be out here. They got some cilantro and parsley and radishes, so they have a good time with those. Some thyme. This stuff is, I can just come out here and just eat this. So good. Straight up thyme, anytime. I got some cucamelons, which were kind of shaded out by these ginormous marigolds. These are supposed to be dwarf marigolds. I had no idea that they got this big. So now I know for next year. Live and you learn. That's part of gardening. But yeah, these guys are starting to finally take off. You see these little yellow flowers. These are going to turn into little tiny cucamelons like this one, but they're going to get about that big, grape size. I've got some more over there I'll show you. Then we got some straight 8 cucumbers that I saved seeds from last year. So these are finally starting to take off and give me some cucumbers. I've seen some baby cucumbers on there, so we'll have some soon. Got another little bean over there, bean plant. Another toothache plant. Got some little sickly looking onions over here. I'm doing my best on those, but it's hard to keep them happy. This is mint. Another one I like to just go up to and pluck it off and eat it. Yeah, you can see this plant was huge. It got about this big, and I had to come out here and chop it all the way down, and it's taken back over again. Another ground cherry. This is our little October Glory tree. It had a rough life at the beginning of its life, but it's finally starting to fill out a little bit. Some more tomatoes. Thought these guys were going to be a casualty during those storms we got, but I reinforced it with some stakes and string, and now they're all like kind of one big mass, and they survived the second round pretty well. Got some more Malabar spinach. This one in the container is doing way better than the other one. But yeah, these start to grow little seed buds that get really dark purple that you can use in dyeing stuff. So I'm going to try that out. And then here are the cucamelons. Literally the most exciting thing. They look like little freaking small watermelons. It's amazing. Do they taste good? That's the question. They taste like a cucumber, just not as watery. It's more tart, but they're really cool to look at. And they're taking over. Some wood I got from my neighbor. And these are some more tomatoes, more volunteer tomatoes that I'd actually taken from over there. And I put them over here. They were looking pretty sickly for about a week, and then they started taking off. This is one more purple blueberry, bumblebee, that I had to find a home for. And tucked away in the back here, we've actually got some tomato plants, or potato plants, that I must not have grabbed or harvested all of the potatoes out of the ground last year, and they just started growing. So, last little leg here. We've got some zinnias that are finally blooming. First one here. And this spot doesn't really get as much sun as they like, so I anticipated it was going to take a while. Some more borage just to bring the bees from our neighbor's yard into our yard. We've got this lovely hibiscus plant that the previous owner had planted, and it's still going strong. It's a beautiful plant. You get these huge flowers that last a day or two, and then they go away. Got some more cucumbers here. These are pickling cucumbers, so they're little tiny ones, but they get about 6 inches long, and then you got to harvest them. I let a couple get too big, and now I'm just gonna be able to use them for seeds. They will not taste good. A couple more peppers. These are the first ones that I put in, so I don't think they're doing that well. They either don't like this spot, or it's because I haven't really mulched this area, or it's just too hot off of the side of the house. I don't know yet, but it could be because I put them in a little too early too. Just kind of doing it as a test run. And this was just the new herb garden, or supposed to be, but I had a little chipmunk in here. Every time I'd come out here, I'd catch him eating the seeds. So we had a few survivors. Dill, apparently he doesn't like parsley, because we got a lot of parsley in the front here. And I've got some cilantro going to seed for coriander, so I can use that in pickling. And kind of last but not least, we got the rose. This one was here when we moved in. It was too pretty to take out. I gotta get rid of these dead heads. But yeah, that's it. That's the garden. And I don't know what that sound was, but yeah, I love just coming out here and feasting my eyes on all the greenery. And hopefully I'll have a ton of stuff to share with a bunch of people at the end of the season. That's it. Everybody have a good weekend.